नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वतदेव गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा। Thank you all so wonderfully participating for so many days in this 6-day seminar on the life of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. It's been 4 days and we've discussed the life of 4 Goswamis. And so that leaves it to suspense as to whom we're going to be discussing about today. Any guesses?
Rupa.
50% correct.
How many of you say Rupa Goswami? Okay, and why would you say that?
Because the gender.
Disciple of Sanatana.
It's like in the line like Jiva Goswami, then Rupa and Sanatana.
Okay, and how many of you think it's going to be Sanatana Goswami? And Mataji, why would you say that?
When we discussed yesterday, you told when we talk about Jiva Goswami, all three we'll have to talk together.
Yes,
We
wonderful.
cannot so
Wonderful.
both
So,
will be together.
yes, very beautiful. So we will be speaking about Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami today and tomorrow. It's not going to be. It isn't going to be distinct, one after another, because it's impossible to speak about Sri Ramchandra without speaking about Hanuman. It's impossible to speak about Narasimhadev without describing Prahlad. It's impossible to describe Srila Prabhupada without describing Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Or it's impossible to describe about ISKCON without describing Prabhupada. So it's impossible to describe Sanatana Goswami or Rupa Goswami without one another. So their lives move like nectarian strings intertwined. And their meeting of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and escaping from Nawab Hussain Shah, it's all very beautiful to hear. So it's going to be part 1 and part 2 of the same series of continuation that we start today and then we end tonight. Today is also the disappearance anniversary of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, the very beloved and the very revered spiritual master of our A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So towards the end of the class, if we do have time, and if everyone is attentive and hungry to hear, then we can spend a few minutes describing Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. In the beautiful, wonderful oceanic pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the position and the role of Rupa and Sanatana is priceless and matchless. It's impossible to describe Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission in this world without describing the glories of Srila Rupa Goswami. It is said that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes are actually a continuation of Sri Krishna's pastimes. And how? Here is how it is. Sri Krishna of Vrindavan, he performed his pastimes 5,000 years ago in the holy abode of Sri Vrindavan, home of Vrindavan, Vrindavan on earth. And after wrapping up his pastimes and after going back to the eternal world, he was not completely satiated. There was something missing. Krishna's Vrindavan Leelas are very nectarian, but they left something missing in Krishna's heart. There was one desire which was not completely fulfilled. What was that desire? Radha, Sri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Ki Drishova Nayaiva. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami describes Sri Krishna had seen the process of bhakti and experienced the process of bhakti as the object of love. But now he wanted to taste the process of bhakti as the shelter of love, as the abode of love. Now Krishna is Rasaraj. He is entitled to taste all mellows. So he is entitled to taste something called as Vishaya Jatiya Rasa, the mellow of being the object of love. And Krishna has always been tasting it. When devotees worship him, bow down to him, offer their foodstuffs to him, circumambulate him, offer their heart's prayers to him, so he is enjoying a mellow called as Vishaya Jatiya Rasa. Rasa, the mellow which has taken its appearance, Jatiya, because of being Vishaya, the object. But being Rasaraj, he is entitled even to taste Ashraya Jatiya Rasa, which means the mellow which is rising by being the abode of the shelter of love. And he's entitled to get it because he's 100% Rasaraj. He's not 50% Rasaraj. So when Krishna accepts offerings, when he accepts obeisances, when he accepts prayers, when he accepts our flowers and fruits and sabjis, he is tasting Vishaya Jatiya Rasa, the mellow of being the enjoyer. But now Krishna, being 100% Rasaraj, wants to flip sides, swap sides, and enjoy Ashraya Jatiya Rasa, which means the mellow of not of being the enjoyer, but the mellow of being enjoyed. Not the mellow of accepting service, but the mellow of offering service. There are some sampradayas who believe that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna. Or let's say, let me put it like this. They believe that Krishna is 100% Rasaraj, but they don't believe that Krishna is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they don't believe that Krishna has ever taken an incarnation to become a devotee. So what does that mean? We are saying he's Rasaraj, but you are only putting him in a box. You're tying him up in a box of only tasting Vishaya Jatiya Rasa. You are saying he's not entitled to become a devotee and enjoy Ashraya Jatiya Rasa, which doesn't make him 100% Rasaraj. It's only 50% Rasaraj, because you're giving him the rasa of being the object, but not the rasa of being enjoyed, of chasing the object in devotion. So Krishna in Vrindavan, he enjoyed all his pastimes in Mathura, in Dwaraka, in Kurukshetra, and he relished Vishaya Jatiya Rasa. But now after going back to his eternal abode, he was thinking to himself, when can I taste Ashraya Jatiya Rasa? And how can I taste Ashraya Jatiya Rasa? So for this, I have to become a devotee. I have to become a devotee and look at myself through the eyes of divine love of that devotee. So if Krishna takes our mood in Kali, he will not taste any Ashraya Jatiya Rasa, because we are not significant pots of abode of love. So Krishna would become us and then look into himself and feel no attraction, then go back and say, I was better off tasting Vishaya Jatiya Rasa. So if he has to take and taste Ashraya Jatiya Rasa, he must have to take the heart of someone whose vision towards him is so love-filled that it excites him much more than the rasa of Vishaya Jatiya Rasa. Is this clear? And the personality who can conquer his heart completely, let's say the personalities, are the residents of Vrindavan. Tad bhuri bhagyam iha janma kimapyatavyam yad gokulepi katamangri rajobhishekham yad jeevitam tu nikhilam bhagavan mukunda adhyapi yad padaraja shruti mrigyameva. Canto 10, chapter 14, text 32, 33, 34, Bhagavata, Brahmastuti. Lord Brahma is describing the glory of Vrindavan, and he says, O Supreme Creator, if I have the opportunity of placing a desire, I place this desire of next life appearing in Vrindavan. Why? Because every single individual in Vrindavan is saturated with so much love for Krishna that they go around chasing Sri Krishna and binding him up and sometimes pinching him, slapping him, and sometimes reprimanding him, putting him off to sleep and waking him up from sleep. They treat as if they are God and he is the servant. And who is this Krishna? The dust to his lotus feet are being searched by the Vedas even today. The lotus foot dust of Sri Krishna's lotus feet are being searched by the 4 Vedas, and that Sri Krishna is in the hands of the Brajvasis. So Brahma says, let me become a resident of Vrindavan. And this has been prayer for so many great Vaishnavas. Just let me live in Vrindavan and taste Brajras, Prem Ras. When you go for Vrindavan Brajmandal Parikrama, you will see the samadhi of a Muslim devotee by the name Ras Khan. He was born a Muslim, but then mysteriously he got attracted to Shama Sundar in Vrindavan. There are many popular stories about how he got attracted. So anyway, he came to Vrindavan, and in the association of devotees, he started chanting the holy name. It is described, some references and some perspectives of the story describe that being a Muslim, he fell in love with a girl from Vrindavan. And then he would come to Vrindavan from Agra to meet that girl. And unfortunately, or let's say fortunately for him, the girl got married to someone else. So he came to Vrindavan with a firm conviction that I will not leave Vrindavan till the time I don't get my destination, my reward, which was the girl. And he would live there in the streets of Vrindavan and cry profusely. So one Brajvasi sadhu, while walking past, he looked at him and he said, "Why are you crying?" And Ras Khan said, "Because I have not achieved my goal yet. And I am not going to leave this land till the time I don't get the person whom I'm looking for." The sadhu thought it was Krishna. And he blessed Ras Khan, "I profusely bless you that you never leave this abode. Stay here and keep crying and you will get the person you're looking for." Now, Ras Khan didn't understand the two-way traffic that was going. And he kept staying there crying for Krishna. He didn't get the girl, but he got Shama Sundar. And he stayed there all his life. From then on, he started writing poetry, which was very beautiful. There is a book that has been published and written by a devotee in ISKCON by the name Deen Dayal Prabhu. And it's entitled The Muslim Devotees of Krishna. And Sri Ras Khan's story is there. Shripad Ras Khan. So he lived there in Vrindavan. And he wrote so many poetries in Braj Bhasha, and they are very beautiful. Even now people go and offer their obeisances to the Samadhi of Ras Khan. So interestingly, I'm tying this to the greatness of the love of Vrindavan. Ras Khan, in his last work, before leaving this world, wrote something very beautiful in Braj Bhasha. I will chant that, and if you get it in the first go, it's going to be very sweet. But if you don't, I will still explain that in English. Is everyone ready? He said, "Shesh, Mahesh, Ganesh, Dinesh, Suresh, Yahi Nirantar Gave, Yahi Anadi, Ananta, Akhanda, Abheda, Acheda, Suveda Batave, Narad se Shuka Vyasa Rate, Tahi Par to Puni Par na Pave, Tahi Ahira ki Chohariya, Chachiya bar Chache pe Nach Nachave." So what he says, who is Krishna? Shesha, Mahesha, Ganesha, Dinesha, Suresha, all the great controllers of this world, Yahi Nirantar Gave, they eternally sing his glories. And what do the Vedas call Krishna as? Yahi anadi ananta akhanda abheda acheda suveda batave. The original cause of all causes, even when innumerable universes emanate out of him, he doesn't reduce in size. Purnamada Purnamidam. Ishavasim principle, everything belongs to him and still he remains the whole. Everything comes out of him, still he remains whole and complete and perfect. And Narada se Shuka Vyasarate. All the pure devotees are continuously chanting his name. Still, Parana Pave. Very difficult to get him. And that same Krishna, how do the motherly gopis in Vrindavan treat him? Tahi ahira ki chohariya. The motherly gopis in Vrindavan, chachiya bar chach pe nach nachave. They can make him dance for half a cup of buttermilk. When Krishna says, I want buttermilk, they will say, first you dance. So much love that the Supreme Lord, the cause of all causes, who cannot be understood by our intellect or any of our material qualities, becomes completely subordinate to the love of the Brajbasis. And therefore Raskhan also says, as he's getting old, about his desire for his next life. And he says, Manushu ho to vahe raskhan baso brajgokul gao ki gwalan. Manushu ho तो वही रस खान बसो ब्रजगोकुल गाओ की ग्वालन जो पशु हो तो कहां बस मेरो चरोनित नंद के धेनु मजारन पाहन हो तो वही गिरी को जो कर छत्र पुरंदर कारण जो खगु हो तो बसेरो करो मिल कालिंदी कुल कदम्ब की डालन. He says, I don't know, my Lord, where I'm going to appear and what body I'm going to have in my next life, but my only desire is Manushu ho. If I become a human in my next life, Manushu ho to vahe ras khan baso braj gokul gao ki gwalan. If I become a human, just make me a Brajvasi in Vrindavan. Please don't take me out. But jo pashu ho, oh, but if I get a animal form, charonit nanda ke dhenu majaran, then make me a calf so that Krishna, with a stick, he keeps moving me in his team. But now, oh, Supreme Lord, if you say you don't have proper karma, you're going to become dead matter like stone with very little consciousness. Then my only desire is let me be at the foothill of that Giriraj who protected Brajbasis when Indra was showering his thunderbolt. But finally, if Krishna, you say that I can't even become that and I'm going to become a bird in my next life, then my only desire is let me become a bird on one of the branches of a Kadamba tree on the banks of the holy Yamuna river. So in this way, innumerable saints in different lines have glorified the beauty of the power of love, the love-filled power and attraction that Krishna has for the land of Vrindavan. So many wonderful verses like this. Even in the Bhagavatam glorifying Vrindavan. Vrindavanam sakhi bhuvo vitanoti kirtim yad devaki sutta padambuja labdha lakshmim. Shukadeva Goswami describes there is no land like Vrindavan. It is so dear to Krishna. If Mother Earth is like, Bhumi is like, Mother Earth is like a beautiful lady, then her forehead is Vrindavan. And Krishna's lotus footprint is her bindi. She preserves Krishna's lotus footprint in the land of Vrindavan, so dear to her heart. Vaikuntho janita vara madhupuri tatrapi rasotsavat. This land of Vrindavan is glorified, successively higher in hierarchy. Greater than Vaikuntha, where the Supreme Lord resides in four-handed form as Mahavishnu, is Mathura, where the Supreme Lord appears as a two-handed Krishna. Greater than Mathura is Vrindavan. He gives up Mathura to go to Vrindavan. Greater than Vrindavan is Govardhan, because he lives in Vrindavan but spends all day at Govardhan. So successively, very beautiful hierarchy has been stated by Rupa Goswami in Upadeshamrita. Yes. So this land of Vrindavan, which attracts Krishna's heart, charms Krishna's heart to such an extent, every resident of Vrindavan, every tree, every flower, every fruit, every bird, every blade of grass attracts Krishna's attention much more than anyone outside, because it is in spontaneous love. They don't desire anything for themselves except Krishna. So Krishna, as Vrindavan Chandra, as Vrindavan Bihari, as Vrindavan Nath, as Vraja Chandra, as Vrajanath, enjoying Vishaya Jatiya Rasa, gets attracted to the Braja Gopis, who are the ultimate apex, ultimate peak, ultimate epitome of divine love. And in that, the greatest example is Srimati Radharani. Who is the Srimati Radharani? The Acharyas describe and the Shastras describe. Satyam Satyam Punaha Satyam Satyam Eva Punaha Punaha Vina Radha Prasadena Mat Prasadona Labhyate. Shri Krishna is making this point. Satyam Satyam Punaha Satyam Satyam Eva Punaha Punaha. Oh Narad Muni, just hear this truth from me. Vina Radha Prasadena, without the mercy of Srimati Radharani, Mat Prasado na labhyate. No one can get my mercy. And Radharani is speaking who Krishna is. Mama eva paurusham rupam. This Krishna is my male form. Mama eva paurusham rupam gopika manamohana. He who attracts the heart of the gopis in Vrindavan is actually my male form. It's just me. Hare ardhatanu Radha, Radhika ardhatanu Hari. No difference between Radha and Krishna. God, when he wants to taste, he wants to be the object of love. Vishaya Jatiya Rasa is Krishna. But Ashraya Jatiya Rasa, Radharani. Now when Vishaya wants to taste Ashraya Jatiya Rasa, that is where Gaur Leela comes into the picture. So 5,000 years ago, Vrindavan Leela, in Vrindavan. 500 years ago, Navdeep Leela. So as far as place is concerned, they are apart. One is Vrindavan, one is Navadvip. As far as time is concerned, they are apart. 5,000 years ago and 500 years ago. So time and space divides and separates Braj Leela from Navdeep Leela. But what connects them together is the continuity of Krishna's heart and emotion. Even after performing Vrindavan Leela, he desires now to take that heart of Radharani and comes down in Navadvip as Gaura Chandra. Krishna Chandra becomes Gaura Chandra. So all the associates, the very, very deep confidential associates of Radha and Krishna come to assist. It's described the manjaris of Radha and Krishna's pastimes. In the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, this is very beautifully described by Srila Prabhupada. Are about 10 to 12 years old. They are direct maidservants of Radharani. Young female maidservants of Radharani. And they assist Radharani in all the possible services. They unite Radha and Krishna. They make the garden and the bushes very beautiful. They make garlands. They decorate the kunj. They paint the lotus feet of Radharani. Sometimes they reprimand Krishna. They perform all these beautiful services. But the point to be noted is these pastimes are very exalted and lofty for us. How are these pastimes going to be accessible? Even to hear we need qualification. Great personalities, when they see happenings in this world, they remember the Leelas of that world. They see water here, they will remember Yamuna. They see a stone here, they will remember Giriraj. They'll see a person, they'll remember the Brijbasi. But in a conditioned state, even when you see that or you hear about that, you superimpose material experience on that. Just opposite experience. The liberated soul sees material objects and remembers the supreme world. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, "Aisava chodata kahi nahi jao, aisava chodata prana haro." In the song Radha Kunda Tata Kunja Kutira, he says, when I hear bird sounds, I remember Krishna. When I see a rain-filled cloud, I remember Krishna. Now, what do we remember when you see a rain-filled cloud? Oh, it's going to rain very soon. So pure devotees, when they see happenings in this world, they remember that world. But when we hear about that world, we superimpose our experiences and we say, no, this is lusty and this is not proper. Radha and Krishna, why they are not married and all of these questions. Our problem is not why Krishna has 16,108 wives. Our problem is why can't I have? Srila Prabhupada would say this. You envy Krishna. Therefore, these pastimes don't appear sweet to us. They're supposed to soothe our heart. Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, when they heard these pastimes, they were trembling and falling to the floor like rods in ecstasy. What happens to our heart when you hear them? There is no transformation. We may hear male and female, we may remember male and female of this world remembering Radha and Krishna. So therefore, who is going to bridge that lofty fruit for us? Those associates who are there in those pastimes can give it. You can't give something that you don't have. So Srila Prabhupada would give an example. When the president or the prime minister of the government head of some country moves into another country for a visit, all of us near and dear associates and ministers also go with him. He never goes alone. Similarly, when Krishna Chandra comes as Gaura Chandra, all his associates come down. And more intimate among them are the Manjaris. The Manjaris who serve Radha and Krishna very beautifully, very lovely, very intimately, to their satisfaction, selflessly. They come down as the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. And these 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan are more glorious to us than the 6 or 8 Manjaris there. Why? Because they perform their service. But they don't teach us how to get there. But in their compassionate nature as the Goswamis, they perform that service internally and externally. Bridge the gap and teach us how to reach there. Not that we want to imitate and get there, but they are giving us the hope of how to reach the transcendental realm. Isn't it so wonderful that Vilasa Manjari is performing her services there, but we can't appreciate. Only when she comes down as Jiva Goswami and gives literatures that we can take advantage of and give ourselves a chance to reach there, can we appreciate that position much more. In this way, to assist Radha and Krishna in combining their modes and forms and coming down as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the highest and the topmost authorities among the Manjaris, Rupa Manjari and Rati Manjari, or sometimes also referred as Lavanga Manjari, very mercifully descended in this world as Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. They were Saraswat Brahmanas from Karnataka. And Srila Jiva Goswami in his commentary gives a brief family lineage, which I would want to present here. Srila Jiva Goswami talks about a king by the name Sarvajna Jagadguru. And he was a very wonderful, illustrious, magnanimous king, very glorious in his activities all his life. He had a son by the name Aniruddha. Aniruddha became the king, and he had many sons, of which the 2 prominent ones were Rupeshwar and Harihara. So as he was leaving this world, he divided his property among equally between Rupeshwar and Harihara. And they accepted it. But however, Harihara, out of extreme greed, usurped the property of Rupeshwar and made him a homeless beggar. So Rupeshwar took shelter of his friend by the name Shikhareshwar, who was a big king with his own palace and own kingdom. Now there he gave birth to a son by the name Padmanabha, who was very learned, an expert scholar in Yajurveda and the 108 Upanishads. Padmanabha had many sons, of which 5 were prominent by the name Purushottam, Jagannath, Narayana, Murari, and Mukunda. Now this last son, Mukunda, had many sons, of which the top 3 prominent ones were Amar, Santosh, and Vallabha. Amar later on became Dabir Khas, a special title that was given by Nawab Hussain Shah, later to be renamed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Rupa Goswami. Santosh, by birth, became Sakar Malik, a title again very gloriously, honorably given by Nawab Hussain Shah. Why was it a great honor? I will tell you in the narration. Sakar Malik was renamed as Sanatana Goswami, and Sri Vallabha was renamed as Sri Anupam by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We already spoke about how Anupam gave birth to Jiva Goswami and the pastimes of Jiva Goswami, so we wouldn't get there today. But interestingly, both these brothers were so effulgent right from birth. Rupa Manjari, the source of all Manjaris, the source of all maidservants of Radha and Krishna. Sanatana Goswami was the older brother, Srila Rupa Goswami was the younger. As a child, Sripad Sanatana Goswami got a dream one night where he saw a very effulgent, bright Brahmana who appeared to him and gifted him a copy of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Sripad Sanatana Goswami as a child in the dream accepted that Srimad Bhagavatam and embraced to his chest and in ecstasy woke up. And then he looked around and there was no Srimad Bhagavatam. And he cried all night. His mother had to come and pacify him and he said, "No, where is Srimad Bhagavatam? The Brahmana gave it to me. Where did I keep it? Where did I keep it?" The mother said, "No, you've just seen a dream." "No, that is a reality. Where did I keep my Srimad Bhagavatam?" And his power, his potency, his hankering, his intensity, laulyam, utkantha, was so high that day, that same effulgent Brahmana that he saw in the dream appeared in reality to his house and gifted him a Srimad Bhagavatam. As we know, Sripad Sanatana Goswami has had great attachment to Srimad Bhagavatam, where he has written his commentary called as the Dashama Tippani, his commentary to Srimad Bhagavatam. Very juicy, very tasty. Also, when later in his life, Sripad Sanatana Goswami did the Govardhan Parikrama, he was thinking of carrying the whole Srimad Bhagavatam with him because he couldn't live without Srimad Bhagavatam. So imagine doing a 40-kilometer parikrama with 18 volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam in your hand. And he did that for some time, but then he would get exhausted. So he would pray to Srimad Bhagavatam, "I pray to the 18,000 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, may you kindly take shelter or you reside in my heart. And whenever I want, you kindly come through the throat. Asadhu sadhuta dayin ati nichochataraka ha na muncha kadachinmam premna rid kantayo spuraha." Bhagavatam, you can give sadhuta, saintly behavior to someone who's fallen. Ati nicha uchataraka, someone who's really degraded and fallen. Anyone who, such a person takes shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam becomes very exalted. Ati nicha uchataraka. Srimad Bhagavatam can lift the most fallen and make them the most exalted, only provided we take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada would say, if you want to become a pure devotee, study Srimad Bhagavatam for 3 hours scrutinizingly daily. 3 hours. And Prabhupada said, you will become a pure devotee because everything will be revealed. I have known families who had separation written in their astrological chart, male and female, before they got married. But they were in love, they wanted to get married. The astrologers would say, no, if you get married, it'll be destroyed. Don't go ahead. They would say, no, we cannot leave each other and whatever. So they had to continue. As an experiment, they studied Srimad Bhagavatam for 1 whole year together. They are married for 25 years now. So keeping aside the transcendental power potency of Srimad Bhagavatam, even on the material front, there's supreme benediction that can come in our life, just the tongue vibrating these verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. Very powerful. They're spoken by great devotees and by Krishna, by incarnations of the Lord. So Srimad Bhagavatam should not just be kept as it is. Prabhupada wrote Bhagavad Gita as it is. But we have added the title to all of Prabhupada's books. We don't keep it as it is, we keep it in the showcase as it is, the shelf as it is. Some places I have to go, they say, Prabhu, Bhagavatam, I said, sure. Then the Vidyarambham, they keep a stool and then they climb as if there's a butter pot which has to be broken. And then they have to tear, because that's it's unopened. And I asked at one place, why have you kept like this? He said, Prabhupada said, as it is. I said, the knowledge must be presented as it is, not the structure of the knowledge. So by studying Srimad Bhagavatam, all good fortune will come. Sripad Sanatana Goswami was very attached to Srimad Bhagavatam as a child. And as they grew up, how humble, how beautiful and handsome they looked. Every part of their body was effulgent, radiating. So much glow of Krishna Bhakti. Have you met devotees like that? Who have been practicing for so many years and you feel, wow, he's so effulgent. Devotees talk about Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj's effulgence like that. So many have come and told me that. Some even asked me, what does Maharaj take? I said, what do you mean? He said, no, he's so effulgent. I said, I'll ask Shamkun Prabhu and let you know. What he takes is daily sadhana and so much compassion and service. Purity is the force. Even Srila Prabhupada would say, his disciples from America and Europe, after 2-3 years of bhakti, when they would go out, they would be like radiating effulgence. And many Indian men would come and ask Swamiji, what do you give them? They're so effulgent. Prabhupada would say that I have given them Krishna, who's all effulgent. So by associating with Krishna, you become all effulgent. And Prabhupada would say, men from Vaikuntha. So they were so beautiful, so effulgent, so humble, always smiling. Rupa and Sanatana. There was not a single person who hated or envied them. Dhira, adhira, jana priyo, priyakaro. Srinivas Acharya describes whether someone was saintly or unsaintly, they all loved Rupa and Sanatana. Very knowledgeable. Multilingual, spoke Bengali, spoke Sanskrit, spoke Persian, Arabic. It's described they spoke more than 17 languages. Nowadays, if you have someone speaking 4 or 5 languages, people give you a raised eyebrow. One athlete, after his game in his interview, was interviewed and asked, how many languages do you speak? And he said 7. And the whole stadium, the whole game stand, they stood up and clapped for 7 languages. Rupa and Sanatana spoke more than 17. With all the dialects and everything. Reading, writing, speaking. Very intelligent. So much so that their popularity and fame spread. And some went and suggested to the Nawab, Hussain Shah, that if you want to conquer the Hindus, just take Rupa and Sanatana on your side. Because everyone loves them. So if you take them on your side, you actually win the majority of the Hindus and their love. Because now you take side with someone whom they love. So they love you. I love my dog and you love my dog, I love you. So Nawab Hussain Shah, he personally went and threatened Rupa and Sanatana. He said, I give you 2 choices. Either you accept my proposal and become the chief minister, and the finance minister and home minister and take possession of all these palaces and grand estates and position and wealth and honor, and I'm ready to share my kingdom and wealth with you and property with you. And in that way, what will happen is that if you take sides with me, I promise you I will protect the Brahmanas, the Hindus, the cows. But if you don't, I will murder both of you. And more importantly, in front of you, I'll murder all your Hindu brothers and sisters. I will stop all the places of worship and I will brutally slaughter cows in the millions. So now you decide. Rupa and Sanatana did not want to take sides with Nawab Hussain Shah. They are Brahmanas. And they wanted to use their life to serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But now, out of burning compassion and mercy, that they didn't want cows to be slaughtered, they didn't want Hindus to be slaughtered, they didn't want places of worship of Sri Krishna and Sri Ramachandra to be stopped. So out of mercy, Rupa and Sanatana agreed, although they were not interested. In the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur describes, and in the Bhakti Ratnakara, Narahari Chakravarti describes, that Rupa and Sanatana looked like Indras in their court, with pandits all over performing yajnas. Nawab Hussain Shah, let them do all that. They had their own auditoriums where they would have performance of art and singing and drama and dance and cultural tradition performances. Any scholar who wanted to present his work and publish his authentic authorized book must have it first approved through Rupa and Sanatana. So scholarly. They could explain any verse in more than 5 different ways. Srila Prabhupada was once traveling with Madhudisha Swami, and they had a program in Nairobi. So Srila Prabhupada was traveling there specifically for a deity installation program. A set of Radha Krishna deities were there, purchased, and they had to be installed, and Srila Prabhupada was all set to go. Then Brahmananda Prabhu sends a telegram saying that the deity installation for which Srila Prabhupada is coming, the deity is broken. And according to rules, if the deity is broken, you don't stick them and install them. You have new sets. So now what to do? It's kind of difficult. Srila Prabhupada said, we will get deities and we will take with us. So Prabhupada, it was not proper for him, for the disciples to ask Prabhupada to lift anything. So Prabhupada was walking and Madhudrisha Maharaj was the only accompaniment. Who was the cook, he was the servant, he was the assistant, he was the person who would give the massage, he would arrange the travel, everything. So he personally carried the 2 deities of Radha and Krishna. First Krishna, and where did they place? In the same flight that they were going, in front of Prabhupada's seat, Krishna was placed. In front of Madhudrisha Maharaj's seat, Radharani was placed. Deities, life-size deities. So they were placed in the box. And then he placed Krishna, and then went all the way back and carried Radharani and placed him. Prabhupada was sitting like a royal swan. And he said, are you ready? So Madhudrisha Maharaj said, for what, Prabhupada? Prabhupada said, to fight. He said, fight. Prabhupada said, yes, Vaishnavas must always be ready to fight any philosophy. So Madhudrisha Maharaj said, no. What? I don't know what to do. You tell me, what fight are you talking about? Prabhupada said, you play the Mayavadi and I will play the Vaishnava. And you pose all your arguments about merging into the Supreme Lord and the Lord having no form and taking temporary illusory form, and I will break it as a Vaishnava. So Madhudrisha Maharaj said, I don't know the arguments of Mayavadi. What can I say? Prabhupada said, still give it a try. And he tried, and within like 5 minutes, Prabhupada was on top of his chest, breaking his arguments to pieces. And Madhudrisha Maharaj said, I surrender to you. I become a Vaishnava. Prabhupada said, this was round 1. Now you become the Vaishnava and I become the Mayavadi. And now you simply have to do what I did to you. Try to defeat me. He said, I don't know Vaishnava philosophy either. What can I do? So Prabhupada started speaking Mayavad perspective, and Madhudrisha Maharaj was speaking the Vaishnava perspective, and in no time Prabhupada with Mayavad defeated the Vaishnava philosophy. And then he looked at Madhudrisha Maharaj, and Madhudrisha Maharaj looked at him and said, Prabhupada, you're a Vaishnava. How could you defeat Vaishnavism through Mayavad? Prabhupada said, that's me. Said, a preacher is he who can defeat his own philosophy through the eyes of the opposing philosophy, and then through his philosophy break the opposition. He said, Nimai Pandit did this. So anyway, they reached Nairobi, and there was no one at the airport to receive them. One Indian gentleman came there and said, Swamiji, can I help you? Said, yes, can you call this number? Call Brahmananda and tell him that I'm here. And interestingly, they had got the dates wrong. So they thought Prabhupada is coming a day later. And they said, Prabhupada has already come. And Prabhupada said, and again, they get these dates wrong. It's been over and over and over and over, but it's okay. This is what Krishna arranges for me. So there is no one for Prabhupada there. So along with Madhudvisa Maharaj, they get with this Indian gentleman, they get on a taxi and they go to the temple. They knock the door and one brahmachari opens the door and Prabhupada is standing on his face. He said, Prabhupada, you were supposed to come tomorrow. And Prabhupada looks gravely into his eyes and says, where is my room? No, but Prabhupada, you were supposed to come tomorrow. Where is my room? But it's not ready, Prabhupada. You just take me there, I will do the rest. So anyway, Prabhupada went there, and interestingly, Madhudvisha Maharaj fell ill with hepatitis at that time. So he was the only servant of Srila Prabhupada, and he was on his face. And he was very apologetic. Prabhupada came into his room and he got up from the bed and said, Prabhupada, I offer my obeisances. Prabhupada said, no, rest. Get your health back first, I will manage. Prabhupada single-handedly put the whole event together. Cleaning the place, painting was going on, the rooms were not ready, Radha Krishna deities, everything Srila Prabhupada did. And as Madhudvisha Maharaj had to stay there and Prabhupada had to leave, so he got recovered and he fell at the feet of Prabhupada. Opening the door of the taxi, he was on the knees and Prabhupada is sitting inside and he was on his knees and said, Prabhupada, please forgive me. I had promised you so much service, but I couldn't do anything. And Prabhupada put his hand like this, placed Madhudvisha Maharaj's face on his lap and he said, it's okay, everything was good. And Madhudvisha Maharaj, in his offering, he says, what attracted me was not Prabhupada defeating me in the flight. I expected that. But what attracted me was that intellect and that exaltedness being accessible out of mercy. And he putting my head on his lap like a father and said, all right, everything was good. So where is Prabhupada getting this tradition from? Originally from Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami. It's described, they were very intelligent, yet so approachable and relatable. They would divide their wealth with people who came to visit. Sometimes people would be sick, sometimes brahmanas would come, sometimes these artists would come from different fields, different philosophers. And Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami would give profuse charity. At Ramakeli, where they were ruling, no one had even a single complaint about Rupa or Sanatana. They all loved him. The Muslims loved them, the Hindus loved them. Nawab Hussain Shah loved him. He shared 50% of his property with these two brothers. Said, you ask for it and I'll give you, but please don't leave me. I depend on you. And they had a replica of Vrindavan at Ramakeli by the name Nava Vrindavan or Kadamba Kanana. They made replicas of Lalita Kund and Shama Kund and Radha Kund and Giriraj Govardhan and Yamuna and Keshi Ghat and Vamshi Vat and all these beautiful places in Ramakeli. So they were living in Vrindavan while living in Ramakeli. His Holiness Shivram Maharaj, in a series of Sri Krishna in Vrindavan, he says there are different manifestations of Vrindavan. One is the spiritual world there, Goloka Vrindavan. One is Vrindavan here, called Bhuloka Vrindavan. One is the Vrindavan in the heart of a pure Vaishnava. And another is a replica of Vrindavan. They're all non-different. How many of us have been to the very wonderful farm in Hungary? Anyone? Shivram Maharaj's farm, did you like it?
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's amazing. They are so particular about their offerings to Krishna. Even the angle of the spoons that they place in the offerings, they are so concerned even about the details in their offerings. Everything's so beautiful. How many of us have been to Govardhan Eco Village? The replica of Vrindavan? Oh, you should go. It's so beautiful. And there's so much more now. So these are all non-different from Vrindavan. Rupa and Sanatan would say, this is the place where you remember Vrindavan and you cry in separation from Vrindavan. They also established a deity of Madan Mohan, where they would make garlands every day and personally offer to Radha Madan Mohan and cry, please release us from this bondage, this entanglement, this dirt. We don't want to serve this meat eating and cow butchering, cow slaughtering, filthy king. We don't want to be an afraid coward being here. We want to give up everything and serve Sri Krishna. But oh Madan Mohan, please save us. Please attract our minds. Madan Mohan, you attracted the mind of Cupid, but unfortunately we are serving Cupid here. Please help us. And one night, as Sripad Sanatana Goswami went off to sleep, he saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in the dream and told Sanatana Goswami, perform your service, but make sure you don't entangle yourself in this material world. This material world is a stool pit. Don't become a worm swimming in that stool pit. Don't entangle yourself. Be detached. Sanatana Goswami Pad, he woke up and ran to Srila Rupa Goswami and said, I saw this dream. And Rupa Goswami said, yes, even I saw something very similar. And I know for sure that supreme divine couple of Vrindavan, Radha and Krishna, have appeared and advented here as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that's the same form that you and I have seen. We should give up our services and go and serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's on the planet. We don't want to miss serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu while serving this Nawab Hussain Shah while Chaitanya is on the planet. We want to give up and run. But how to do it? They spoke to their parents. The Veer Khas and Sakar Malik spoke to their parents. Now these titles were given by Nawab Hussain Shah out of love, and it was a very big thing. It was almost like a perverted reflection of Diksha. They were given names. And why was it a special thing? Because in those times, to get a Muslim name, you got to be a Muslim, which was considered to be a very big thing. Only if you're born a Muslim will you get a Muslim name, otherwise no. But here Nawab Hussain Shah let Rupa and Sanatan practice their Vedic principles and even preach their Vedic principles. But still he awarded them the Muslim titles for what they were. He thought Rupa and Sanatan were perfect Muslims, following kindness and compassion given in the Quran. He would tell Rupa and Sanatan, you're preaching all this Vedic philosophy, but you don't know you're actually pure Muslims. You're following the Islamic path. Some know it and some don't. And you're among those who don't know. But keep doing your services. One day Allah will reveal himself to you. And Rupa and Sanatan would say, this is exactly what we want. We want Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to reveal himself to us. So they spoke to their parents. Their father was disgusted with their positions. Now can you imagine? A father being disgusted, disappointed, frustrated to see his sons having such exalted, popular, luxurious, opulent positions of government service. He said, what is this? I am a Brahmana, my sons are supposed to be Brahmana serving Krishna. And now they are assisting this third-class king who's in all abominable activities, and they out of fear they are assisting. Whether it is to save themselves or whether it is to save the society, how abominable that my sons, instead of serving the Supreme Lord, are licking the boot of this fool. I wish you get uplifted very soon. The father would say, I am even unqualified to perform yajnas because my sons have got Muslim names, which means I have become a Muslim now. I am outcast from the Vedic line. So he was beating himself up for having sons who were materially successful. Isn't that fantastic? Here we are trying to balance our lives between two boats. The boat of spiritual advancement and the boat of climbing and racing up the corporate ladder. These dual lives that we are leading. But they were completely outright 100% service at the lotus feet of Krishna. Even Jesus says something like this in the Bible. That the elephants in the jungle get their food without calling out to the names of God. 10 kilos of rice, the African elephants. Who gives them? So if they can be fed, and a black ant on a black night standing on a black rock in a black well can be seen and given his food every day by Krishna, won't someone chanting and hearing about him exclusively get something to eat? But when we doubt Krishna's reciprocation, that's when we have to make our own endeavor. At least this was their standard. We cannot imitate. We have to be practical in this world too. If we all try becoming Madhavendra Puri, we may just lose our congregation. One after another, Nitya Lila Pravishta on Vishnupad because of lack of food. But this was the father's approach. And the mother was a little more compassionate. She accepted Rupa and Sanatana, understood their hearts clean, said, why don't you write a letter to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Write a letter and speak your heart out. So they wrote a letter. No reply. Rupa and Sanatana wrote another letter. No reply. A third letter, no reply. Fourth letter, no reply. Multiple letters, no replies. And finally there was one reply, where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wrote just one paragraph. He said, how if a married lady after marriage has a paramour, she makes sure that she performs her services so meticulously that her husband can't spot what's happening in her mind. Externally, she's so meticulous and systematic as to no doubts arise. But in her heart, she's making plans how to give up the husband and run to her paramour. That was the message. Now we may think Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a renunciant and Rupa and Sanatana are renunciants and renunciants writing to renunciants for help, and the renunciants replied to the renunciants a letter of renunciation talking about paramours. But Rupa and Sanatana could understand the metaphorical usage of language. What was the meaning? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu referred to Rupa and Sanatana as married wives. And their husband was Nawab Hussain Shah. And the paramour was Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what that equation came up to was that perform your services externally so wonderfully that Nawab Hussain Shah doesn't doubt what's happening in your mind, but in your mind just make plans of giving up his service and running to meet me. That's all. So Rupa and Sanatana got some hope, but nothing else after that. They were burning in fire of separation. As this was going on in Ramakeli, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was all set to go to Vrindavan. He set off with millions and millions of followers to go to Vrindavan. And they were all going with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They wanted to see Vrindavan through the eyes of Sri Gauranga. So they were following with mridangas and kartals, and it was very wonderful. At that time, there was a devotee by the name Narasimhananda Brahmachari. And his particular service was, he would offer services to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentally. Like for example, if you want to offer foodstuffs, he would shop mentally, he would wash them mentally, he would cut them mentally, he would cook them mentally, he would systematically place them mentally, he would offer it to Krishna mentally and also honor it mentally. Everything through the mind. And he was known to do it. He would offer services mentally. So as he got to know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going to Vrindavan, he decided to pave the roads and decorate the path to Vrindavan for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So with his eyes closed, with the chariot of his mind, he started beautifying the path. He started placing trees with beautiful singing birds, animals like peacocks and deer and cows decorating the path. So many beautiful nectar water ponds with lilies and lotuses beautifying the place. Bushes on all sides and lotus petals under the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And in this way he beautified mentally. And he went only up to Kanai Natashala. And he couldn't go ahead after that. He couldn't mentally visualize and decorate. So his meditation broke. And he told the devotees, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not going to Vrindavan. He is just going to go to Kanai Natashala and then return. So devotees were amazed. Why would you say that? Because Mahaprabhu is making plans to go to Vrindavan. But he was convinced. Narasimhananda Brahmachari was convinced. Because he has offered service only up to Kanai Natashala, Mahaprabhu will accept only up to there and not proceed ahead. Mahaprabhu set out. He was going to Vrindavan with so many thousands of people. And mysteriously, he took a route leading to Ramakeli. Now externally, it was a burst of his intoxicated ecstasy that he lost his way and went to Ramakeli. But internally, he wanted to rescue Rupa and Sanatana, who were working there. So it was past evening, after sundown, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with thousands and thousands of followers with Kartala and Mridanga entering Ramakeli with tumultuous kirtan. Nawab Hussain Shah was kind of confused. What's happening? So he sent his men to find out what's happening. And they came back with an update that some sannyasi is coming with a few disciples and he's performing some Vedic jumping and dancing and singing. I think we must stop this right away. So Nawab Hussain Shah thought this was very important to stop. So he asked his dear associate by the name Keshava. He asked Keshava, do you have any idea about who this visitor is? Now Keshava Chhatri, he exactly knew what was the mindset of Maharaj Nawab Hussain Shah. Not Maharaj, but Nawab Hussain Shah. He was the king. He knew that if he would say this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and a Vedic sannyasi, he may order mass slaughter and attack the devotees. So Keshava played safe and he said, oh, this is just some self-proclaimed devotee with 2 or 3 disciples coming over. You don't have to worry. I don't think you must even pay attention. Nawab Hussain Shah said, no, that's not true. This is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And just by looking at him, I know he's God. He's not some another sannyasi with 2 or 3 disciples. He has more than 2 or 3,000 disciples there. And that is God. I see Allah. He's so effulgent. He's so beautiful. In fact, I myself can explain how my heart is being attracted to his beauty. And why not? This is Radha and Krishna. He got ecstatic. Now, Nawab Hussain Shah. And he passed an order. This Harinam Sankirtan should continue far and wide. And anyone who tries to stop the Harinam Sankirtan in Ramakeli will be beaten up. Now Keshava was pretty happy. But Rupa and Sanatana heard about this. But they knew how mysteriously restless Nawab Hussain Shah was. He was like a pendulum. He could swing from being a gentleman to a mental man and back to a gentleman to a mental man and to a gentleman in no time. Like Kamsa Maharaj in the Bhagavatam. He would say, you're not this body but spirit soul, and the spirit soul is part and parcel of God. And the next step he would make plans of murdering Krishna. So the lesson is, knowing the philosophy doesn't make us a devotee. Even the demons knew the philosophy. Even they knew the difference between body and soul with much more conviction than all of us put here. Hiranyakashipu, fantastic philosophy in the 7th canto. Ravana, amazing Brahmana. Kamsa Maharaj, excellent classes. So just giving good classes doesn't make one a devotee. His Grace Mahatma Prabhu was asked this question. How do we know who is a good Kirtaniya? His Grace Mahatma Prabhu said, just follow him before and after the Kirtan. Knowing the philosophy is good, but application of that philosophy in real life and being devoted to that philosophy makes us a devotee. Otherwise, you're simply a professional reciter. You may give very beautiful emotional drama and twists and turns in the narration, but if it is with ulterior motives, if it is with deviated viewpoints and practice, and if you don't put it to practice, if you speak about something and you live the exact opposite, then how is that a devotee? Preaching is actually a 24-hour activity. Sometimes we have to open our mouth. Sometimes. Silence is certainly golden. True silence means to speak of the golden avatar. So to live that philosophy makes us a devotee. Knowing it is very good. Prabhupada would sometimes very mildly reprimand and chastise that my disciples are so busy distributing the books that they hardly have any time to read it themselves. Meaning to be active, actively knowing it is one thing, and to actually put it to practice is another. And Sanatana Goswami knew that Maharaj, or let's say Nawab Hussain Shah, he's unpredictable. So now he's making this proclamation that anyone who stops the Sankirtan will be killed, and it's possible the next minute he may change his policy. So let us just go disguised, incognito. Can you imagine Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami have been dying to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to Ramakeli. Radha Rani and Sri Krishna have come to meet their most intimate maidservant Manjaris in Gaur Leela for the first time. This is where yesterday we described Jiva Goswami was in the lap and he was peeping through from behind the tree to see what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was conversing. So Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, they disguised themselves. Externally their appearance was such that no one could understand that they were Rupa and Sanatana, or Davir Khas and Sakarmaya. They clasped a straw of grass between their teeth, representing humility. We've heard this phrase many times, correct? But what? Tante Trinadhari. But what does this actually mean? His Grace Madhavananda Prabhu from Gopal Jiu publication, from Bhubaneswar, from Jagannath Puri, very beautifully explained to me once. I asked this question to Prabhuji, that we've read this holding a straw, blade of grass between the teeth. And you say that's humility, but I want to understand what it actually means and why. Because it is said that there are many verses where this example is used. Even Srila Prabhupada would quote Prabodhananda Saraswati's Chaitanya Chandramrita, where he would say that, oh, great soul, Prabodhananda Saraswati is knocking at the doors of different personalities and saying, oh, great soul, Vihaya Dhurat, give up all the knowledge that you know, and Chaitanya Chandra Charane Kurutanu Raga, and just take a blade of grass between your teeth and fall at the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So there also Prabhupada in his class makes this point that this represents humility. So I asked Prabhuji, Sripad Madhavananda Prabhu, and he explained very beautifully. He said when a devotee understands that he's so sinful that next life he's going to be born as an animal eating grass, he prepares from now itself. Krishna, this is my future. I am going to become an animal eating grass, chewing grass in my next life. Let me prepare from now. I am most abominable, I am most fallen. Please accept me. Sahitya Sangeeta Kala Vihina Sakshat Pashu Puchha Vishanahina Trinan Nakhadan Napijiva Manam Tad Bhagadeyam Paramam Pashunam. Oh Krishna, What is the use of my life? I'm like an animal without a tail, without horns, and without eating grass. Let me start practicing right now. This is what my future is going to be. Oh, Krishna Chaitanya, please accept me. Without you, Ami bina bandhu ar ke ache tumhe. You have said there is no other friend that we have apart from you. Please accept me. There's a very positive meditation that we all can do to enhance our chanting. Before we sit to chant, just imagine that in our past life we were butchers. And all our life we have slaughtered cows. One after another, thousands and millions of cows. And mercifully Krishna has given one human form for us, just in case if you want to appeal for mercy. And if we don't, next life onwards, the reactions of the butcher life are going to start. With what intensity will we call out to Krishna? That next life I'm going to become series of cows, one after another, and brutally, mercilessly slaughtered. Krishna saved me. So this is one meaning. Another meaning is, oh Sri Krishna Chaitanya, I'm covering my mouth with this blade of grass, which means whatever I'm going to speak now, I'm not speaking from my lips, I'm speaking from my heart. I have covered my mouth. I'm not doing lip service. I'm speaking from my heart. So please accept my heart service. Third meaning, keeping a blade of grass between the teeth, representing O Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Whatever punishment or whatever position you give me, I will accept that without giving any reasons or excuses or justifications or clarifications. Whatever you decide, I am okay with it. I have nothing more to speak to you. Sometimes in this world, we always have justifications and clarifications and yes, one after another. No, it's not how as you think it is. This is my perspective, and then it creates more mess. Saying, oh Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you know me more and better than I know myself. I accept without any justification. So in this way, Rupa and Sanatana approached Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with a blade of grass, and they tied a cloth around their neck like pet. This has to be opened? Yeah. Jai Shri Shri Gaunitai ki Jai. That's some pastimes right there. So Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami with a blade of grass clasped between their teeth and with a cloth tied firmly around their neck to show how they are ready to become personally trained up by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like they are animals. Please accept us as pet animals. We have no more ray of hope here. If you don't accept us, we have to choke ourselves with this cloth. Incognito, in disguise, they went to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they first went and met Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur. And Nitai and Haridas accepted Rupa and Sanatana. Nityananda Prabhu placed his lotus feet at the head of Rupa and Sanatana and said, I bless you that you will get the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And took them inside, and Rupa and Sanatana fell like rods, like stick rolling on the ground looking at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They said, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you are the most merciful, munificent, magnanimous incarnation of Godhead. And we are the most fallen. We are more fallen than Jagai and Madhai. Jagai and Madhai, however sinful they were, they lived in Navadvip Dham. So all the sins get nullified and purified there. Also, Jagai and Madhai never committed Nam Aparadh because they never chanted the holy name. And they never committed Vaishnava Aparadh because they never associated with Vaishnavas. But we are so fallen that we are offending the holy name, and at the same time we are offending the Brahmanas and the devotees, because indirectly we are assisting that person whose lifelong whole and sole purpose of existence is to destroy the Vedic philosophy. And just for the sake of our lives and some position and some wealth, we are ready to assist such a cruel, violent king. We are so sinful. We are blots in the Brahminical plan. You have come here to show your mercy. We are the most fallen and you are the most magnanimous. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is the best combination. Please stop your search on the most fallen on earth. Your search ends here. If you rescue us, then your glorious mercy. People would talk about your mercy and the power of your compassion everywhere. They will have faith in your mercy that if Dabir Khas and Sakar Malik can be accepted, everyone can be accepted. But if you reject us, what faith will anyone have on you? Just like Narottam Das Thakur says, Yadi daya na karibe, patita dekhiya, patita pavana nama kisera lagiya. If you don't uplift me, I am the most fallen and you are the most magnanimous. And if you don't agree to take me to your lotus feet, who named you Patita Pavan? How did you get this name? You shouldn't have been the most magnanimous person because you're not uplifting me. To which in that song Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells Narottam Das Thakur, okay, I'll uplift you. I'll take you. But you tell me, what do you want me to do? He says, Podichi bhava tufane nahi ka nistar Shri Tarani Charana Tarani Dane Dase Karo Par. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says to Narottam Das Thakur, okay, I will give you the shelter of my lotus feet, but what exactly do you want? Narottam Das Thakur says, I am drowning in this ocean of repeated birth and death. Your lotus feet is the only boat. Please give me a position inside that boat. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, do you have the ticket? I'll take you on the boat of my lotus feet's mercy, but do you have the ticket? Narottam Das Thakur says, yes, I have the ticket. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daser Anudas. My ticket is that I am the servant of your dear servant. So Rupa and Sanatana, very humbly, in a very meek way, they put themselves at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they were crying. They were crying loudly. Being chief ministers and home minister, finance minister for Nawab Hussain Shah with so much property that they had that they could do anything that they wanted materially. But they considered that to be useless. All the wealth of this world, useless. Tyaktva turnam ashesha mandalapati shrenim sada thu chavat. They spat at that position. Tu chavat, thu chavat. We don't want this. We want your lotus feet. Anything that takes us to your lotus feet, we accept. Anything that takes us away from your lotus feet, we reject. Rupa and Sanatana Goswami individually spoke. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started crying. He said, so, please stop, Sanatana. Your humility is breaking my heart. How much will you speak like this? I know who you are. You are my eternal servant. And you are performing this service for my pleasure. To save the Vaishnava community. Why do you beat yourself up like this? Shri Krishna's mercy will fall on you very soon. I accept both of you wholeheartedly. Not just now, eternally, lifetime after lifetime, no one can separate you from me. Rupa Goswami Pad said, Yojnanamattam bhuvanam dayalum ullaghayan apyakarot pramattam swaprema sampat sudayat bhutayaham Sri Krishna Chaitanya mamum prapadhye. O Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there is a difference between Krishna and your holy grace. What is the difference? Krishna picks the jivas up from the ocean of repeated birth and death. Those who are drowning in repeated ocean of birth and death, Krishna picks them up. But you pick them up and then throw them and drown them in another ocean, the ocean of ecstasy. Krishna just picks the drowning, but you pick the drowning and drown them in another ocean of Prem Nam Sankirtan. This is the difference. You are most merciful. Oh Gauranga Mahaprabhu, please bless us so that we give up this Nawab Hussain Shah and assist you. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, very soon these bonds of entanglement will be personally broken by me. And you will be empowered to fulfill my mission by assisting me in Vrindavan. You will excavate lost pastime places, you will build temples and install deities, you will write extensively books, authoritative, bona fide, authentic books on Vedic philosophy. And you will serve as a very wonderful example to illustrate Vaishnava tradition and etiquette. But till then, have hope. Saying this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu placed his lotus feet at the head of Rupa and Sanatana and said, from today, Dabir Khas, I rename you as Sri Rupa Goswami. And Sakur Malik, I rename you as Sri Sanatana Goswami. There was a big cheer, big roar. At that time, Sripad Sanatana Goswami, with tears, he told Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I heard you were going to Vrindavan, but my humble suggestion is please don't go to Vrindavan with thousands and thousands of people. You will just receive unnecessary, unwanted public attention. Just go to Vrindavan all by yourself, just with 1 or 2 personal servants. You will relish Vrindavan much more in isolation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took that advice of Sripad Sanatana Goswami. Next morning he set out to Vrindavan. But as he came to Kanai Natashala, he realized thousands and thousands of devotees were stamping over and walking over the bushes and destroying the trees that Narasimhananda Brahmachari in his mind had created. And Mahaprabhu couldn't have seen a loss of service. So he said, what Sanatana Goswami said is perfect. I am going back to Puri. I am not going to Vrindavan with so many devotees. So when he came back, devotees in Jagannath Puri were shocked. You didn't go to Vrindavan? They were also shocked how Narasimhananda Brahmachari could exactly predict up to where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go. There in Jagannath Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu profusely with 5 mouths spoke about the glorious position of Rupa and Sanatana. He said how they were exalted in learning, in aristocratic birth, in beauty, in knowledge, in strength, in position. So many people loved them. They had such gentle, meek, humble nature, and still they beat themselves because of genuine humility, finding faults in the self. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, whose disappearance we are celebrating today, would say a very beautiful point as far as fault finding. He would tell his disciples, if I tell you to work as a waiter, carrying meat in a restaurant, will you do it? And the disciples would say, no, Gurudev, we will not do it. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, you will be handsome paid. You will get a very good salary. They said, no, we still don't want to touch meat and take it from one table to another as a waiter in a restaurant. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would say, now what if I tell you that you're not even going to be paid? Will you still do that service? They said, no, impossible. Why would we do it? If you are paid, we would still reject this job description. But still, now if you say we're not going to even be paid, we're not going to do it. Saraswati Thakur said, but you're already doing it. Carrying meat from one table to another means carrying the faults of one devotee to another on the shoulder for no personal gain whatsoever. He said, as a guru, I have to do it to make sure that the disciples improve in their spiritual standing. But you as disciples, you don't even have to do it. Why are you unnecessarily carrying the meat plate of faults for having no material or spiritual gain, only loss and stink from one table to another? Why would you carry this weight? Isn't this very practical? This is what Saraswati Thakur would say. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said Rupa and Sanatana were so exemplary, but they only found faults in themselves. They never found faults in anyone. And no one could find faults in them. Very soon they would be part of my empowered service, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. Now Rupa and Sanatana here in Ramakeli, they were getting restless day by day. They told their parents about what happened and they were being restless. When will Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy finally fructify. Rupa Goswami wrote to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when do you think is a good time that I can give up everything and run? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I am on my way to Vrindavan. Resign and come. This was his message. So now Rupa Goswami had got this message. He prepared with Anupam, told Nawab Hussain Shah that we are resigning. We have nothing to do with you now. We are going and don't disturb us again. He said, but why are you leaving? I can give you 100% of my kingdom. He said, I don't want any percent of your kingdom. You take everything that I have. Just let me go. Now there was a problem. He gave lots of gold coins. But Rupa Goswami just accepted all of that and distributed it among the Brahmanas and left with Anupam. He still carried some money with him. Unfortunately, what happened was Rupa could escape, but Sanatan got stuck. So beautiful. Their hankering and intensity increased. Even sky wasn't the limit. Rupa Goswami left, but Sanatan Goswami couldn't, because Nawab Hussain Shah said, if all three brothers leave, especially Dabir Khas and Sakar Malik leave, then you cannot predict what I will do to the Hindu community. Rupa Goswami said, I don't care. You do whatever you want. We believe in the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He has told me to resign and come to him, and I'm doing so. Now, Sanatan Goswami had to be diplomatic. They were working for the king, so they knew a little bit of political diplomacy. So Sanatan Goswami told Rupa Goswami, it's not good for all of us to leave, so you leave and I will take care. Because he was the older brother, he wanted the younger brothers to leave. He said, I will take care, you leave. When his anger subsides and his heart softens a bit, I will shoot a javelin and leave. You leave from now. So Rupa and Anupam left. Sripad Sanatan Goswami faked flu. He told the king, I can come for some time, I'm just not keeping well. So the king said, oh, is everything okay? No, just give me a month break, I'll be okay. So the king gave a month break. Now the month became 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, 6 months. Now who has a flu for 6 months? So he sent the doctors. Can you just go and see what Sakar Malik is doing? Is he alive? Is he dead? Is he alive? And is he healthy? What's wrong? The doctors came there to check on Sripad Sanatan Goswami. He was sitting like the moon in the center, amidst the dark sky of Kali, with stars like Brahmanas around chanting Srimad Bhagavatam. So nowadays devotees, they have a sick leave at work. And they are found dancing at Radhashtami in the temple on the same day. Please don't think that's wrong. Sripad Sanatan Goswami did it. So every time you feel like prioritizing Krishna with a little bit of mundane morality, as far as untruth is concerned in this world, everything is relative after all. If you say you're sick, well, that's always a reality, because we are inflicted with bhavarog, the illness of repeated birth and death, so we are indeed sick. It's not something that we're being untruth about. So Sripad Sanatan Goswami was sitting there reciting Srimad Bhagavatam with all the Brahmanas around. And 1 and 2 and 3, there were circles around, and Sripad Sanatan Goswami was sitting in the center and reciting, and everybody's echoing the verses. The Vaidyaraj came there and said, who is sick here? He went back and told Nawab Hussain Shah, this is what is happening there. Nawab Hussain Shah said, imprisonment. Lifelong imprisonment. Sripad Sanatan Goswami said, so be it. We will sit in the prison and chant Srimad Bhagavatam. Very good. You keep me in the prison house, no problem. That's better than serving you. Nawab Hussain Shah said, what is this? You are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, you lied to me. Sanatana Goswami said, because I don't want to serve you. I have nothing to do with you. I want to go to the Lord of my life, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Do you realize Krishna has come in the sentiment of Srimati Radharani as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and my duty is to serve him, and I am wasting my human form serving you. Do you realize this? Now this was impossible for the king to comprehend. Sripad Sanatana Goswami said, what would you do if I don't listen to you? And he had never seen this side of Sakar Malik. He said, I am going to Orissa and I want you to come with me. Sanatana Goswami said, you go, I am not coming. I have nothing to do with you. You do whatever you want. He said, I will kill you if you don't agree to me. He said, you break my body into pieces. And you move all the weapons through my body, but I don't want to listen to you. It's better I die, remembering Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, than being your faithful dog. Do as you like. Nawab Hussain Shah imprisoned Sakar Malik, Sripad Sanatana Goswami. And he went to Orissa. Now Sripad Sanatana Goswami was in the prison as Sri Chaitanya and Sri Nityananda gave us darshan. Sri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai. Narration from the scriptures, and then we look at our altar, the 6 Goswamis, then we look at Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How can we take darshan in 3 minutes? There's so much backing our darshan, looking at them with tears. Oh Sanatana Goswami, oh Rupa Goswami, how much you sacrificed to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he who's easily available now to me. I don't have to fight any Nawab to come and see you. So Sripad Sanatana Goswami was imprisoned. And there was this jailer who was a Muslim. Sripad Sanatana Goswami told him, can you help me escape from this prison? The jailer said, no, it's impossible. How can I do that? I have been paid and instructed to keep you here in this prison house. Sripad Sanatana Goswami said, you are a very, very wonderful, devout Muslim. And according to Islam, to have compassion over others who want to become saints and sadhus. I don't want to enjoy anything in this world. I want to give up everything for the pleasure of Allah. And I want to go to Mecca. Holy place of pilgrimage for the Muslims. Mecca and Medina. The Vrindavan for them. The Vrindavan and Navadvip. He said, I want to go to Mecca and I want to give my life for Allah and I want to become a prophet. And you will get a lot of spiritual blessings if you help me do it. Now the jailer's mind was spinning. Sripad Sanatana Goswami said, astrologically, this is a wonderful month to give charity. So if you liberate me in charity from this prison house and offer me at the lotus feet of Allah, if he has a form. The lotus light of Allah. Then you will get a lot of spiritual credit. And the jailer agreed. He said, yes, I want to do it. But what if the Nawab gets to know? What will I do? Sanatana Goswami said, I'll give you a plan, a trick. You just tell him that I have to go to Mecca and Medina. And if you do this, I will offer you some money. Interestingly, Sanatana Goswami had written to Rupa Goswami about how he's stuck. So Rupa Goswami wrote a letter back with 10,000 gold coins packed. Said, bribe and leave. Now please don't take this message out of context. I am not saying bribing is wonderful. So Rupa Goswami had sent. Sanatana Goswami agreed to give 50%, 5,000 gold coins to the jailer and said, I will give it to you if you agree to me. Now the jailer said, yeah, but the Nawab, Sanatana Goswami said, another 1,000. He said, sure, 6,000 is very nice, but if the Nawab asks, I have no answer. What will I say? Sanatana Goswami said, you're going to cook up a story that I'll tell you too. Just tell the Nawab that Sanatan had to pass stool So I let him out. And then I followed him. He went to bathe in the Ganga and he slipped and drowned, and I didn't find his body. The jailer said, yes, it's very wonderful story, but what if the king has any doubts? Sanatana said, another 1,000, 7,000, this is done deal. The jailer said, okay. With 7,000, I will manage it. You leave. Sripad Sanatana Goswami left with his dear associate and servant by the name Ishan. And they walked all the way, and now they had entered Bihar. And it was a very dangerous, tough terrain with valleys and jungles with wild animals. And there were dacoits in that area, known to plunder and loot any person who passes by. So it was a very difficult tract of land to get across. So Sripad Sanatana Goswami, he told Ishan, it's already very late at night. Let's stay in an inn here overnight and we'll leave tomorrow with daybreak. So they agreed. They entered the inn. And interestingly, the owner of that inn was the leader of the dacoits. He would see everyone as to what I would get out of them if I murder them. And he was being super nice to Sripad Sanatana Goswami and Ishan. And Sripad Sanatana Goswami's mind started working. Being a diplomat, he could understand. Ati vinayam durta lakshana. Too much of humility has only, as Prabhupada would say, Ati bhakti chorera lakhan. Too much of bhakti is only a sign of a thief, something ulterior going on. Sripad Sanatana Goswami was thinking to himself, it's because of the money that I have. And interestingly, that leader of the dacoits who was heading that inn had an astrologer who could predict, like Veerahamveer Mahashaya. He had an astrologer who could predict, and the astrologer predicted these people had 8 gold coins. So if you murder them, you get 8 gold coins. Sanatana Goswami asked Ishan, why are they being so nice to us? Do you have any gold coins? Ishan said, yeah, I have 7. So it was actually had 8, but he's just announcing 7, keeping 1 for himself. Sanatana Goswami said, give it to me. So he took those 7 gold coins, and Sanatana Goswami with those 7 gold coins went to the leader of the dacoits, the manager of the inn, and said, this is for you. 7 gold coins, don't think of murdering us. He said, how did you know? Sanatana Goswami said, I was working for Nawab Hussain Shah. With every hand gesture and every movement of every person, I know what's coming up. The inn manager said, we were planning to kill you for these gold coins, but you're so honest, you're giving it on your own, keep it. Because of your honesty, you keep it. Sanatana Goswami said, no, you keep it. If you don't take it, somebody else will murder me for them. You keep them, just perform one service for me. You are the leader of the dacoits, help us get through this tract of land. It's very dangerous. We want to go and meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he agreed. Then as they were settling down, he asked Ishan, do you have any more gold coins? Ishan said, I think 1. Sanatana Goswami said, show it to me. And he showed it to him, said, keep that for yourself and go home, leave me alone. The more money you have, the more anxiety I have. Go. Now Sanatana Goswami was going through a tract of land where he didn't know anyone, he didn't have anyone, he didn't have any money, he didn't have anything, but he preferred all of that to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He walked through that tract of land along with the leader of the dacoits. They crossed all of that. And he finally came to a place, a village called Hajipur, where his brother-in-law, the husband of Sripad Sanatana Goswami's sister, Shrikant, had come there to purchase a few horses for the government. So he met Sripad Sanatana Goswami sitting there. He said, oh, please spend some time, 1 week with me. He said, I don't want to spend even a day with you. I am on my way to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I don't want anything in this world. no, I have no time. Okay, at least accept a gift. And he gave a woolen blanket shawl to Sripad Sanatana Goswami as a gift. Sripad Sanatana Goswami accepted and started walking, and he reached Varanasi. He was very tired. As he reached Varanasi, very tired and exhausted, to his surprise, he heard the news. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had already visited Vrindavan and now was in Varanasi in the house of Chandrasekhar Acharya. What was happening to the heart of Sripad Sanatana Goswami? He went and sat outside the house of Chandrasekhar Acharya. He sat there with beard and mustache like this. To just show you I kept this for so many days. For so many days I was just growing it without shaving, just for this instance in the 6-part seminar. Tomorrow this will be shaven up. He had beard and mustache. And I couldn't arrange a woolen blanket, but if anyone has, feel free to give it. But he had one and he was sitting outside the house of Chandrasekhar Acharya waiting for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in the house of Chandrasekhar Acharya. And he was speaking to him and he said, a very great saint, a self-realized soul, has come to Varanasi. And he's outside. He's a very exalted soul. Please go out and get him in. Chandrasekhar Acharya went out and he looked. He didn't find any great soul. Because his definition of great soul was different than what he saw here. So he said, there is no great soul. There is no sadhu outside. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, is anyone outside? He said, yes, there is one Muslim prophet sitting outside. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, yes, he's the one, get him in. Chandrasekhar Acharya held the hand of Sri Sanatana Goswami and called him in. And Sripad Sanatana Goswami looked at Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu looked at Sripad Sanatana Goswami. And the conversation that they had mutually, we will reveal tomorrow night. So stay tuned till there, and parallelly we will also discuss what happened in the life of Rupa Goswami. So tomorrow night's class, which is the grand finale of the series, is going to start sharp at 7 o'clock.